Steers. It was once the epitome of sophistication, the zenith of culinary artistry in the heart of our city. Its gleaming marble floors, crystal chandeliers, and impeccably dressed waitstaff exuded an aura of opulence that drew patrons from all corners of the world. Steers was where memories were made, where love stories began, and where lives were forever changed. It was also where my own life took a sinister turn into the depths of fear and dread. I started working at Steers as a waiter when I was desperate for a job, fresh out of college with a mountain of student loans threatening to crush my dreams. The moment I entered the restaurant for my interview, I felt a chilling breeze sweep over me, but I brushed it off as the air conditioning working overtime. Little did I know that it was a harbinger of the horrors that awaited me. The first few weeks at Steers passed in a whirlwind of glitz and glamour. I was a cog in the machinery of extravagance, attending to the every need of the restaurant's elite clientele. The patrons came from far and wide, and their eyes sparkled with delight as they savored each exquisite dish and sipped on rare wines. The atmosphere was electric, the laughter infectious, but beneath the facade of perfection, there lurked an ominous undercurrent. It was during my third month at Steers when I first noticed something peculiar. A strange man, always alone, would occupy a corner table. He was gaunt, with sunken eyes that held secrets I could only imagine. He'd order the same meal every time, a simple steak and a glass of water. His presence was unnerving, and I'd often catch him staring at me with an intensity that sent shivers down my spine. One evening, as I was placing his steak in front of him, he leaned in closer, his voice a whisper that was barely audible above the din of the restaurant. "Do you feel it too?" he asked, his eyes locked onto mine. "The darkness that lingers here beneath the glamour." I withdrew, unsettled by his words. "I'm not sure what you mean, sir." He chuckled, a hollow sound that reverberated through my very soul. "You will," he said cryptically, and I hurried away, my heart pounding in my chest. That night, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was amiss at Steers. I lay awake in my small apartment, the memory of the strange man's words haunting me. I decided to dig deeper, to uncover the truth hidden behind the restaurant's facade of elegance. My quest for answers began with the staff. I approached my colleagues cautiously, asking if they had ever experienced anything unusual at Steers. Most dismissed my inquiries with nervous laughter or shrugged them off as mere coincidences. But a few, those who had been at the restaurant for longer, exchanged knowing glances and spoke in hushed tones of strange occurrences. One night, as I was conversing with one of the veteran waiters, Sarah, she leaned in and whispered, "You've noticed it too, haven't you? The feeling that something's not right." I nodded, relieved to find someone who shared my unease. "What do you know, Sarah?" She hesitated, her eyes darting around to ensure no one was listening. "There's a legend, a dark tale that's whispered among the staff. They say that Steers is cursed, that something happened here long ago." My heart raced as she continued. "The story goes, those original owner, a man named Frederick Steers, made a deal with a powerful and sinister entity to ensure the success of his restaurant. In return, he had to offer up something precious to the entity, something so valuable that it could never be replaced." I shivered, my mind racing with the implications of her words. "What did he offer?" Sarah's voice dropped to a mere whisper. his own daughter. He sacrificed her to the darkness, and ever since then, the restaurant has been cursed. Those who work here long enough can sense it, a feeling of impending doom that lingers in the air. The chill that crept down my spine was undeniable. But what about the strange man who sits alone? Sarah's eyes grew wide with fear. That's him, the entity's emissary. They say he's been coming here for decades, watching and waiting. Nobody knows why, but those who have crossed his path well. The revelation sent shockwaves through me, but it also ignited a burning curiosity. I needed to know more, to confront the darkness that loomed over Steers. The following night, as the strange man returned to his corner table, I approached him cautiously, my heart pounding like a drum. "Sir," I began tentatively, "what can you tell me about this curse, about what happened here?" He regarded me with those piercing eyes, and for a moment, I thought he might refuse to answer. But then, with a heavy sigh, he began to speak in a voice filled with sorrow and regret. Frederick Steers was a desperate man, willing to do anything to ensure the success of his restaurant. He made a pact with an entity that promised him wealth and prosperity in exchange for a life. That life was his own daughter's. I gasped, horror and disbelief coursing through me. The entity demanded more than just her physical presence, he continued. It took her soul, her essence, and left behind a void that could never be filled. That's why this place is cursed, tainted by the darkness that lingers in the wake of such a heinous act. Tears welled up in my eyes as I tried to comprehend the enormity of the tragedy. "And you, why do you come here?" He looked at me with a profound sadness. "I am bound to this place, cursed to be its guardian. My task is to bear witness to the suffering it has caused and to remind those who work here of the darkness that dwells within. But I can never intervene, never break the curse. I can only watch and wait." The weight of his words settled upon me like a suffocating shroud. I left his table that night with a heavy heart, burdened by the knowledge of the curse that clung to Steers. The once glamorous restaurant now felt like a mausoleum, a tomb of lost souls and shattered dreams. As the weeks passed, I couldn't escape the feeling that the curse was closing in on me. Strange occurrences became commonplace, the flickering of lights, the distant sound of eerie whispers, and the sensation of being watched by unseen eyes. Sleep eluded me, and I became consumed by an unshakable sense of dread. One evening, as I was clearing a table near the bar, I felt a cold hand brush against my shoulder. I spun around, expecting to find a coworker playing a prank, but there was no one there. The patrons at the nearby tables stared at me, their faces filled with a mixture of curiosity and pity. That night, I decided to confront the entity's emissary one final time. I needed answers, a way to break free from the suffocating grip of Steers. As I approached his corner table, my heart hammered in my chest. "Please," I implored, "there must be a way to end this curse, to free us from the darkness." He looked at me, his eyes filled with a sorrowful wisdom. "There is a way, but it comes at a great cost." I nodded, desperation driving me to accept any terms. "You must make a choice," he said, his voice grave. "You can either leave this place forever, severing all ties to Steers, or you can choose to stay and become its new guardian, forever bound to its curse." The weight of the decision hung heavily over me. Leaving meant abandoning the life I had built, but staying meant embracing a future filled with darkness and despair. In the end, I made my choice. I can't let this curse claim any more innocent souls, I declared. I'll stay and become its guardian. But how do I break the cycle? The entity's emissary leaned in, his breath chilling my skin. You must find a way to redeem the soul of Frederick Steers. Only then can the curse be lifted and the darkness that plagues this place be banished. With those final words, he rose from his seat and walked away, disappearing into the shadows of the restaurant. I was left alone with the weight of my decision and the knowledge of the daunting task ahead. And so, I remained at Steers, not as a waiter, but as its reluctant guardian. I delved deep into the history of the restaurant, uncovering long-forgotten secrets and searching for a way to redeem the soul of Frederick Steers. It was a lonely and harrowing journey, one filled with sleepless nights and eerie encounters with the entity's emissary. But I was determined to break the curse, to free Steers from the darkness that had plagued it for so long. As the years passed, I came to understand the true nature of the curse. It wasn't just about the sacrifice of a life. It was about the sacrifice of one's humanity, one's soul. And it was a sacrifice I was willing to make to bring redemption to this place. As I write this, as I seal the darkness receding, the curse slowly losing its grip on Steers. The restaurant is no longer the glamorous establishment it once was, but it's also no longer a place of torment and despair. I have paid the price, and the entity's emissary has disappeared, his task complete. Steers is a mere shadow of its former self, a relic of a bygone era. It serves as a reminder that even the most glamorous facades can hide the darkest secrets. But it's also a testament to the power of redemption, of the strength of the human spirit to overcome even the most malevolent of curses. And so, I will continue to tend to this once cursed place, forever bound to its legacy, but no longer haunted by its darkness. Steers will live on, not as a prestigious restaurant, but as a symbol of hope and redemption in the face of unimaginable horror.